afternoon, everybody. How is everybody doing today? My name is Thad Graham. I am the education specialist for victim services here at Family Services Incorporated. Hold on one second. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Sorry, I was just making sure I was not having any audio problems. New headset, so just wanted to verify it was working. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So today we are going to be looking at the importance of teaching healthy sexuality, specifically to children. So looking at the importance of sex education for children. So as always, with Family Services, our mission is to provide resources to build healthier relationships and promote personal growth. Our vision is to engage with communities to meet the needs of their most vulnerable members. And of course, as always, a trigger warning to please take care of yourself. Your own mental health is more important than anything. If any of this information is upsetting to you, please feel free to step away at any time. Remember, the recording, all of the webinars are recorded and you can watch them at any time. So what are today's objectives? First, we are going to define what healthy sexuality is. We are then going to define healthy sexuality education or healthy sex education. We are going to discuss the importance of sexual health education. We're going to discuss abstinence-only programs and discuss what healthy sexuality education looks like from a top-down perspective. So, where do our kids get their information from on sex education? Where do they get information on healthy sexuality, on pregnancy prevention? Where do they get their information on sex? Well, from three places. Often, they get it from their friends. And I don't know about you, but I can remember being a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old child, and my friends were definitely not the most up to date on what healthy sexuality and what healthy sex and safe sex looked like. So unfortunately, not really the best source of information. Of course, our children can also get that information from their schools. Now, I can think back about my experience in schools and learning about healthy sexual education and sex ed in schools, and I had two very different classes when it came to learning about healthy relationships, healthy sexuality, pregnancy prevention, etc. So of course, the first one was our physical education teachers, our gym teachers. They were just as bored and over the material as us students were. They stood in the gym, put us on, on bleachers, and they read straight from their handbook. They had no enthusiasm for the subject. They had no activities. They hated being there just as much as we did. It was miserable, and I learned nothing, and I remember nothing except how miserable both they and us were. Now, fortunately, I also had an amazing superhero health education teacher as well. These are the teachers that aren't afraid to teach real sexual health, to teach pregnancy prevention, to teach with understanding, compassion, and real knowledge. I had a great teacher. Her name was Mrs. Myers. She still teaches there today. She still teaches health education. She is a great resource when it comes to students learning proper information when it comes to health education. I still remember some of the activities that we did. That was almost 20 years ago. So unfortunately, these health teachers are very few and far between. So oftentimes it is left up to the parents. It's often left up to you. So you as a parent or you as a caregiver need to understand the importance of teaching healthy sexuality and proper sexual education, prevention, etc., to your children or to the children that you're in charge of in your life, whether it's your own children or through what you do for a living. So, of course, like I said, the definition: what is sexual health? How do we define it? So there is a disclaimer here because coming up with a definition of sexual health is a difficult task. Each culture, subculture, and individual has a different standard of what is considered sexual health, including, religion. So, a general definition that we can all understand and that we can use throughout this presentation is that sexual health is, of course, the ability to embrace and enjoy our sexuality through our lives. It is an important part of our physical and emotional health. Sexual health includes far more than just avoiding diseases or unplanned pregnancies. Being sexually healthy means that we understand that sexuality is a natural part of being human and of our lives. And it involves more than just sexual behavior. Recognizing and respecting the sexual rights we all share. Having access to sexual health information, education, and of course, care. Making an effort to prevent unintended pregnancies and STDs, and seek care and treatment when needed. Being able to experience sexual pleasure, satisfaction, and intimacy when desired, and being able to communicate about sexual health with others, including sexual partners, and of course, healthcare providers. Now, what is sexuality education? What is sex education? What is sex ed? More than the instruction of children and adolescents of anatomy and the physiology of biological sex and reproduction. All-encompassing sex education is more than just about anatomy and physiology. It covers healthy sexual development, gender identity, interpersonal relationships, affection, sexual development, intimacy, and body image for all adolescents, including adolescents with disabilities, chronic health conditions, and other special needs. There is a major disconnect and miscommunication often when it comes to adolescents with disabilities, chronic health conditions, and other special needs, whether they're a child or even in adult form. Unfortunately, most people believe that someone with an intellectual disability or developmental delay has no inherent interest in sex. They're asexual. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but unfortunately for their thought process, that is not true. They have just as many needs and desires as someone without an intellectual disability or developmental delay. And that's something, a stigma that we need to overcome so that we can provide everybody with proper information and education. So why is it important to have proper sexual health education? Proper sexual health education helps us avoid negative health consequences. Each year in the United States, about 750,000 teens, I wish it was only 750, become pregnant, with up to 82% of those pregnancies being unintended. So 8 in 10 teen pregnancies are unintended, often because teens do not understand proper use, how to come by or acquire, or they feel that there is a stigma to using contraception. Young people ages 15 to 24 account for 25% of all new HIV infections in the United States and make up almost one half of the over 19 million new STD infections Americans acquire each year. STD infections like herpes are so common that 1 in 4 adults have an STD like herpes. 1 in 4 adults. Proper sex education would help prevent and slow the spread of STDs like herpes. Sex education teaches young people the skills they need to protect themselves. It helps young people communicate about sexuality and their own sexual health. 61% of youth cite family members to be a significant source of information on sexual health. So over half of youth look to their family members, their role models, their mom, the dad, their caregivers as a source for sexual information and information on their own sexual health. However, students also have a low confidence or low level of confidence to discuss sexuality or contraception with parents. There's often a stigma, there is shame that comes with that conversation. We need to eliminate those stigmas and allow those to be completely normal conversations that we have with our children. Throughout their lives, people communicate with parents, friends, and intimate partners about sexuality. Learning to freely discuss contraception, condoms, and condom use, as well as activities they are not ready for, protects young people's health throughout their lives. Actually talking about healthy sexuality and teaching about proper contraception use can actually delay sexual initiation um, until later in life, until they are ready. It also helps prevent HIV, STIs or STDs, as well as unintended pregnancies. Remember, up to 1 in 4 adults have herpes, so have acquired herpes through, sex. Oftentimes because of little knowledge of contraception use, and low confidence in contraception. It helps you understand healthy and unhealthy relationships. Maintaining a healthy relationship requires skills many young people are never taught. On a side note, that is what I do. So if your young person, your school, anybody would like more information on healthy or unhealthy relationships, please reach out. Positive communication, conflict management, and decisions around sexual activity are just a few of those skills that many students, many children, many adolescents are never taught. And they never develop those skills or the ability to fully develop those skills. So they're not good with conflict management. They're not good with decisions about sexual activity. They're not good with positive communication or communication in general. A lack of these skills can lead to unhealthy and even violent relationships among youth. Teen dating violence is one of the most overlooked and underreported types of violence that we see in high schools. 1 in 10 high school students has experienced physical violence from a dating partner in the past year. 1 in 10 high school students, not just females, 1 in 10 high school students, male or female, in the last year. It's insane. It helps youth understand, value, and feel autonomy over their bodies. Comprehensive sexual health education teaches not only the basics of puberty and development, which are important, but it also instills in young people that they have the right to decide what behaviors they engage in and to say no to unwanted sexual activity. Just the ability to allow a child to understand that it is their body. They have the autonomy to say no, even to someone they love or they care about, is important. Children do not get that education enough. It also, furthermore, sex education helps young people to examine the forces that contribute to a positive or negative body image. It helps them feel better about themselves and about who they are. One of the things that, you know, our society is hyper focused on sex and sexuality. We see it all of the time. We see it in social media, we see it in music videos, we see it on TV, we see it on the internet, we see it everywhere. But the average adult has sex about 65 hours a year. It is something that is, you know, so makes up so little of our life, yet is so hyper focused on in society. It's something that doesn't make sense. We also need to respect others' rights to body autonomy. 8% of high school students have been forced to have intercourse. So 8% of high school students have been sexually assaulted, most likely by their boyfriend or girlfriend. One in 10 students say they have committed sexual violence. 1 in 10 students admit to committing sexual violence. Just think about that. As well, proper sex education teaches young people what constitutes sexual violence, that sexual violence is wrong, and how to find help if they've been assaulted. Whenever I go into a classroom and I am talking to students about consent, about what consent looks like, about what sexual violence is, about what sexual assault is, and allowing them to understand that sexual assault is more than just rape. It is unwanted touch, it's coercion, it's all of these other things that lead to and are considered sexual assault and sexual violence. Most of these children, these youth, these adolescents, up to juniors and seniors in high school, have never been told or taught what actually is or isn't consent. It's something that's eye-opening and something that these kids want that information. Oftentimes, I will schedule 30 minutes to talk about it. And in some classes, we'll talk about it for 90 minutes because they have questions that they have not answered. They want information. They want to protect themselves. They want to protect others. And if they have been assaulted, they want to know how to get help. It also, like I said before, it teaches about consent. It teaches us that consent is more than a yes or no, that it is an ongoing dialogue about desires, needs, and level of comfort with different sexual interactions. It teaches that empowerment. Consent is not a blanket statement, and it is specific each time and always required. Healthy sexuality and healthy sex education is rooted in consent and respect. It helps us show dignity and respect for all people, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. The past few decades have seen a huge step towards equality for LGBTQ plus individuals. Unfortunately, those same individuals, specifically youth, still face discrimination and harassment. Among LGBTQ plus students, 82% have experienced harassment due to their sexual orientation. 38% have experienced physical harassment just due to their sexual orientation. I can think of, even locally, different occurrences of children in the LGBTQ plus community who have been harassed, bullied, and assaulted simply due to their gender identity or sexual orientation because it doesn't meet what society feels is the norm, at least for some. It's sad. Giving students proper sex education allows them to show dignity and respect for all people, even if they don't agree with someone's choice, which is absolutely fine. It helps us protect their academic success. Student sexual health can affect academic success. Academic achievement is linked to student health. The CDC has found that students who do not engage in health risk behaviors receive higher grades. Health risk behaviors such as early sexual initiation are associated with lower grades, as well as lower test scores and lower educational attainment. Health-related problems and unintended pregnancy can both contribute to absenteeism, dropout, and of course, lower educational attainment. Now, that's not, to say that if a teen has an unintended pregnancy that they're going to have a lower educational attainment um, than someone who doesn't, but on average they are at a higher risk for lower educational attainment. They're at a higher risk to drop out of school and at a higher risk to, in layman's terms, make something of their lives, to be a productive member of society. We also know that comprehensive sexual health education works. We have decades of research that says it works. Research has repeatedly found that sex education, which provides accurate, complete, and developmentally appropriate information on human sexuality, including risk reduction strategies and contraception, helps young people take steps to protect their health, including delaying sex, using condoms and or contraception, and being monogamous. So a complete health education, including healthy sexuality, will actually delay sex or the start of sex. A lot of parents, that's what they want. Preventing or keeping information from our students, not talking about it to your children is not delaying that information. Children are curious. They're going to find that information. If you are not the one providing it, they're going to get it from that really, really crappy health teacher at school. Maybe they have a good one, often not. Or they're going to get it from their friends, which is terrifying. Or even more terrifying, the internet. Do we really want our children to get their comprehensive sexual health education from the internet? A 2012 study that examined 66 comprehensive sexual risk reduction programs found them to be an effective public strategy to reduce adolescent pregnancy, HIV, as well as STIs or STDs. Research from the National Survey of Family Growth assessed the impact of sexuality education on youth, sexual risk taking for young people ages 15 to 19, and found that teens who received comprehensive sex education were 50% less likely to experience pregnancy than those who received absentee-only or until marriage programs. Complete and comprehensive sex education was 50% more likely to prevent teen pregnancy over absentee-only programming. Even when accounting for differences in household income and education, states which teach sex education and or HIV education that covers abstinence as well as contraception tend to have lower pregnancy rates. You can teach abstinence, but you also have to teach a complete and comprehensive sex education. It doesn't work without complete information. And unfortunately, we need to start early. Starting early, a report outlining the implementation of a K through 12 sexual health education program supports the case for starting sexual health education early. Starting early works. The report observed that elementary school programs can promote children's development by helping them understand, appreciate, and care for their bodies. It helps them to develop and maintain healthy friendships and relationships. It helps them to avoid unhealthy or exploitative experiences and relationships. Something as simple as teaching your child proper body names and using proper body names with that child. So, for example, penis or vagina decreases their risk for being sexually assaulted. It reduces the risk to being, molested or raped. And unfortunately, if they are, it allows them to properly testify and to get help sooner. It allows us to recognize and deal with peer pressure. It helps youth make responsible decisions, and it helps youth understand how their behavior is linked to their beliefs about what is right and wrong. So, what is wrong with abstinence only or until marriage programs? Why doesn't it work? Abstinence only has been shown that it doesn't work, unfortunately. Many students receive abstinence only programs. So these programs depict abstinence until heterosexual marriage as the only moral choice for young people. It mentions contraception only in terms of failure rates. Yes, condoms are not 100% effective. Yes, oral contraception, um, other contraception methods are not 100% effective, but they are a lot more effective at preventing pregnancy than not using them. It focuses on heterosexual youth and ignores the needs of LGBTQ plus youth. It often uses outdated gender roles, urging modesty for all girls while painting all boys as sexual aggressors. It has been found to contain often false and harmful information and are also not supported by most Americans. When you look at data, only one abstinence only program has ever been proven effective at helping young people delay sex. Unfortunately, it is still withholding information about contraception, and it leaves those who do have sex completely at risk. We have to remember that 99% of people will use contraception in their lifetimes. Not providing information that almost 100% of people will use is harmful. It's inappropriate. It's not right. The provision of information about contraception does not hasten the onset of sexual debut or increase sexual activity. Oftentimes, like I said before, it delays sexual initiation. 30 years of public health research clearly demonstrates that comprehensive sex education can help young people delay sexual initiation while also assisting them to use protection when they do become sexually active. Not only does it delay sexual activity, it makes them more safe when they do initiate sex. So what does the evidence-based programming look like? Evidence-based sexual health education provides accurate, complete, and developmentally appropriate information and skill development that allow young people to make decisions that are informed, responsible, and healthy. The National Sexuality Education Standards recommend that all evidence-based sexual health education programs include the following characteristics. So they want to focus on specific behavioral outcomes. What do you look to achieve? You want to address individual values and group norms that support health enhancing behaviors. You want to address social pressures and influences. Build personal and social competence. Focus on increasing personal perceptions of risk and harmfulness of engaging in specific health risk behaviors, as well as reinforcing protective factors. It also provides functional knowledge that is basic, accurate, and directly contributes to help promoting decisions and behaviors. It uses strategies designed to personalize information and engage students. Like I said, I still remember to this day activities that we did in Mrs. Meyer's 8th grade health class that taught us about sexual transmitted diseases, pregnancy prevention, and other important information that I still remember to this day. Engaging information and engaging activities will make those students remember that information apparently forever. It provides age and developmentally appropriate information, learning strategies, teaching methods, and materials. Even teaching something as simple as body autonomy to young children, something to where you don't force a child to give a hug to a parent or a grandparent. Allowing them to have that body autonomy and the ability to say no goes a long way in providing accurate and appropriate information. It incorporates learning strategies, teaching methods, and materials that are culturally inclusive. It provides adequate time for instruction and learning, and provides opportunities to reinforce skills as well as positive health behaviors. It provides opportunities to make connections with other influential persons. It includes teacher information and a plan for professional development and training to enhance the effectiveness of instruction and student learning. Like I said, I had two health classes, back in the day. One that was influential, one that was appropriate, and one that was helpful, and another one that we slept through. In terms of specific content, there is an emerging model for sexual health education. It is the rights-based approach, which employs a vast, comprehensive sexual education program with a focus on human rights, gender equality, access to healthcare services, and of course, critical thinking. One of the things we have to remember is that it cannot be done alone. Parents, students, health educators, curriculum specialists, and other school and community stakeholders must be willing to work in collaboration with each other. We all must strive to dismantle barriers and support access to evidence-based sexual health education that allows all students to make informed, responsible, and healthy decisions. Here at Family Services, we can offer that full, comprehension-based sexual health education for students in classrooms that is approved by both PCADV and PCAR. We can also provide training for parents. We have a workshop that's called Parents in the Know. It allows us to talk about and to work through those difficult conversations we have with our children, from the birds and the bees, to healthy sexuality, to sexual orientation, to where they're getting their information, to topics that are so taboo you don't want to talk to your child about, like masturbation. Important information that we can present to you, that we can help you as a parent or caregiver feel better about providing appropriate and accurate information to your students. My contact information, of course, is always at the end. If you're interested, the program is once again called Parents in the Know. It is a great program to help parents learn proper healthy sexuality, and it's 100% okay, and 100% developed around your cultural and religious beliefs as well. Once again, the Victim Services Program, if you or anyone has been sexually assaulted or needs help when it comes to sexual violence or domestic violence, teen dating violence, please feel free to reach out to us today. We are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 814-944-3585 is our helpline number. You can call or text it at any time. Of course, you can find us on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. We have a Go to Stage and YouTube channel as well. All of these webinars and all of our information can be found on both our YouTube and our Go to Stage. You'll also find a ton of great, helpful, shorter videos on our Facebook. It is almost Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We have a lot of great information, a lot of great collaborations and other things planned for our social media coming up in October. Please, 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 if you haven't already, please follow us, the Victim Services Program, as well as the Center for Child Justice, and the other programs that Family Services offer on Facebook and all social media. Like I said, we have a lot of great information coming up in October. Thank you all for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. If you're interested in Parent in the Know training or healthy relationship training, which does include information on healthy sexuality and sexual education, please feel free to contact me by email or phone. Thank you all very much. If you have any questions, I will, of course, hang out in the chat for a few minutes until everybody leaves. If not, everybody have a wonderful day. There are handouts, of course, in the handout section. Thank you all for your time. Have a wonderful Wednesday.